You know, if you've ever worked with data in a big company, you've definitely felt this pain. You need just one simple data set, but you're stuck in this huge line, just waiting for the central data team to get to your request. It's a classic bottleneck. But what if there was a better way? Okay, let's dive into the concept that's trying to fix this exact problem, the data mesh. So here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll look at the problem itself, that central data bottleneck. Then, we'll introduce the data mesh, get into its 4 core principles, see it in action with a real-world example, and then, at the end, help you figure out if it's actually the right move for you. All right, let's start with why this problem even exists. For years, the go-to strategy was to build a gigantic central data lake, or a data warehouse. And the idea, it made sense. Put all your data in one single place. But as companies got bigger and more complex, this model really started to show its cracks.
And I want you to think about this for a second. In your world, does getting data feel slow? Do your different teams, say sales and marketing, have to get in line and wait for one single overworked data engineering team for basically everything? If you're nodding your head right now, trust me, you are not alone.
This really lays out the tension perfectly, doesn't it? On one side, you have that old-school, slow, monolithic central team. And on the other side, well, that's the dream, right? Something faster, more agile, and decentralized, where the control is actually in the hands of the teams who need it. And that right there brings us to the solution, the data mesh. And it's really important to get this. It's not just another piece of technology you can buy. It is a completely different way of thinking about how data is owned and organized.
And here is the absolute key to the whole thing. It is all about shifting ownership. Instead of having one central team holding all the keys to the castle, Data Mesh says, hey, the teams that actually create and really understand the data, the domain experts, they should be the ones to own it.
And look, this isn't just some abstract theory. As you can see, we're talking about some of the biggest names in tech and finance who have already jumped on this. Companies like Netflix, Uber, and JP Morgan are already using a data mesh approach to handle their incredibly complex data worlds.
Let's just let that sink in for a minute. This means your product team, they own the product data. Your sales team, they own the sales data. They become responsible for its quality, how to access it, basically for treating it like a real first-class product.
This whole idea really stands on 4 key pillars, which were originally laid out by the creator of the concept, Zhamak Dehghani. And if you want to get data mesh, you really have to get these 4 principles. And what's so smart about this is how these principles create this perfect balance between freedom and, well, chaos prevention. You've got domain ownership, which gives teams autonomy, but you also have a self-serve platform to give them the right tools, and federated governance to make sure everyone's playing by the same general rules. And the big one, data as a product, which forces teams to think about building their data to be used by others.
Okay, so theory is great, but what does this actually look like day to day? Let's get practical and see how this compares to the traditional data lake we've been talking about.
I mean, the difference is pretty black and white, right? A data lake centralizes everything, ownership, governance, which makes it slow and really hard to scale. A data mesh, on the other hand, distributes that ownership and federates the governance. That just naturally makes it way more agile and easier to scale. Let's make this super concrete. Imagine a simple e-commerce company. In the old world, every single piece of data they generate flows into one central bucket. So you've got sales data, inventory data, customer data. It all just gets dumped on the central data team. Now, if the marketing team needs a report that combines sales and customer info, they have to get in line. This right here is the bottleneck in action.
Okay, now let's rewind and see how that same e-commerce company would handle this using a data mesh approach.
All of a sudden, things look completely different. The sales team now owns a clean, documented, and easy-to-use sales data product. Same goes for the inventory and customer teams. They provide APIs, they guarantee data quality, so now other teams can just find and use their data directly. No middleman, no waiting in line. Now, this all sounds pretty amazing, but I gotta be clear, data mesh is not a silver bullet. It's a huge shift, not just technically, but culturally, and it's definitely not right for everyone. So let's talk about how to decide if it might be right for you. So who should be paying close attention here? Well, if you're a pretty large organization with a lot of different departments, if your data is being used by tons of different people for tons of different things, and yeah, if that central team has become a major roadblock, these are all huge green lights. It's a sign that data mesh could be a massive win for you.
But on the flip side, there are some definite red flags. If you're a small company, or your data world is relatively simple, honestly, the overhead of a data mesh probably isn't worth it. It takes real investment in platforms, in governance, and in changing the culture. So it's not for organizations on a super tight budget or those without a solid data culture to begin with.
And that really brings us to what might be the single most important takeaway from all of this. You can't just go out and buy a data mesh tool. It is fundamentally a change in mindset that is then supported by a new architecture. It's about empowering people and decentralizing responsibility. So the final question isn't really about technology at all. It's about your people and your processes. It's about moving from a culture of central control to a culture of empowerment. It's a big, profound shift for sure, but for the right organization, it can unlock incredible speed and innovation. The real question is your organization ready for that shift?